Now on YouTube, it's time for some alternative commentary action with the Commenttary Hub.
There's headed by Moreno, and it's 2-1 to Arsenal.
Look at that pass! Goal for Manchester City!
Takes this corner, whips it in, it's headed and it's a goal, and it's that man, Gabriel.
Liverpool have equalised. Lovely improvisational touch from Curtis Jones.
Oh, what a goal! Wow, take it out! Welcome along to the Commenttary Hub's coverage of the EFL Cup. Kick-off is at 8 o'clock here at Vale Park, where Port Vale of League One take on Arsenal of the Premier League in the EFL Cup. That is not the only one game that's taking place involving English sides. A few other EFL Cup games, we'll give you those in just a second. Those are just getting off and underway in their games tonight. Well, also for us this evening, there is a game which is standing by over in the Europa League at the Villamarin Stadium in Seville, and watching Real Betis for Nottingham Forest for us is Paul James, and he's got the team news from that game today. Paul, good evening to you, my friend.
Good evening and welcome to a sunny Sevilla in Spain, the Estadio de la Cuartilla. The starting lineups for this afternoon. Looking first at the home side, very, very impressive at home this season. Third in the league. Let's start with Betis. Pau Lopez in goal. Former Leeds player Junior Firpo, Valentin Gomez, Nottm and Angela Ortiz are the back four. The three is Sofian Amrabat, Giovanni Lo Celso, he's the captain, and Sergi Altamira. That's your three in midfield, with Abde Ezazuli, Cedric Bakambu and Anthony on the right-hand side. Many of these players you will already be familiar with as former Premier League players. For Nottingham Forest, well, they're really changing it up a little bit. They're going 4-1-4-1 tonight. And they line up with Matt Sells in goal, Alexander Zinchenko, Morata, Nikola Milenkovic and Neko Williams are the back four. Ibrahim Singara is holding the midfield. And the four there in the attacking midfield role is Callum Hudson-Odoi, Elliot Anderson, Douglas Luiz and the captain Morgan Gibbs-White, all playing behind Brazilian signing Igor Jesus. The statistics reckon a only 25 to 35% chance of a victory for Forest this evening. They are the underdogs in what is likely to be a passionate game. But for Forest, if they want anything from this game, they're going to have to tighten up at the back. Back to you, Russ.
Thank you very much there, Paul. Really good to get Paul with us this evening for that game tonight. Right then, we have got another game taking place, and that other game is at Vale Park, as you can see on the screen there. It is Port Vale versus Arsenal this evening. And we'll just bring you the lineups in just a second to give you the starting lineups. And we'll look at Port Vale first. We'll run through these again just before the start of kickoff. It is Joe Goche in goal. The back three then of Jesse Debra, Cameron Humphries and Connor Hall is the back three. Midfield five then of Jadine Headley, George Hall, Reece Walters, Ryan Rosedale and Jordan Gabriel. And up front tonight, Rui Payton alongside Ronan Curtis. The bench is Morosi, Clark, Ennigan, Byers, Garrity, Stockley, Ojo, Fall and Cole. As for Arsenal then this evening, the Premier League side, they made a few changes from the 1-1 draw with Manchester City at the weekend. Is Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, Ben White, Christian Mosquera, William Saliba and Miles Lewis-Skelly across the back. Mikel Moreno, Christian Norgod and Ethan Wanere in midfield, with Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli and Eberechi Eze in attack. On the bench then for the Gunners, David Raya, Gabriel, Yuri Timber, Victor Gyökeres, Leandro Trossard, Ricardo Calafiori, Martin Zubamende, Declan Rice, and youngster Max Dowman. That is the teams that will run you through those just again ahead of kick-off in that game tonight. Right then, the man who I'm about to bring in now is a big friend of the channel, works on the channel as well. He's a big Arsenal fan, and it's good to have him with us tonight. Mike Holland is with us this evening. Mike, how are you doing, my friend? Are you looking forward to this one? And what do you make to the Arsenal team news that Mikel Arteta has picked this evening?
Yeah, good evening. Doing good, thanks. So when you look at this lineup, you can see that it's a real strength in depth from Arsenal this season. You know, we've got Kepa, and then that back line can really easily feature in many Premier League games. Ethan Wanyeri as well. Marino has done. You know, Saka as well will feature a lot this season. You know, of course, especially now that Madueke is out for the next couple of months. And then Eze as well. And it's going to be good to see what Martinelli can do in that number sort of 10. Well, I suppose the number 9 position, really, isn't it, for Martinelli this game? Obviously, I've seen Port Vale play as well this season. They were defeated 2-1 against Stevenage earlier this year. And they're not a bad side. You know, I kind of was quite impressed with them on the day. Stevenage got the 2-1 win, and there were 2 late goals in there. But Port Vale will cause problems at home. But as I say, Arsenal got a real strength in depth, and it really shouldn't be an issue. If this is anything other than an Arsenal win, it's going to be because Port Vale will put on an absolute master show.
Hello, you have to say that, my friend. And just before we do get into kick-off in a bit more and get you a prediction from you in just a second, which more than likely probably will be expecting, a lot of people will be expecting an Arsenal victory. There were some games in the EFL Cup last night, and just to bring you those results ahead of kick-off, it was Barnsley 0, Brighton 6, Burnley 1, Cardiff 2, Fulham 1, Cambridge 0, Lincoln 1, Chelsea 2, Wigan 0, Wickham 2, Wolves 2, Everton 0, Wrexham 2, Reading 0, and Liverpool 2, Southampton 1. However, there is some matches taking place this evening in the Carabao Cup. All goalless as it stands right now. It's Huddersfield Town versus Manchester City, Newcastle United against Bradford City, Tottenham Hotspur against Doncaster Rovers. Tonight's matches in the Carabao Cup third round is all League One versus Premier League sides. So Huddersfield in League One, Bradford in League One, Doncaster in League One, and obviously Port Vale are in League One as well. So League One against Premier League opposition. That will bring you up to date with those scores throughout the evening. As soon as the goal goes in, we'll let you know. Then we'll also have updates throughout the game on Nottingham Forest away at Real Betis in the Europa League as well. And we'll also play, we'll bring you delayed commentary later in the week of Liverpool's game last night. So you'll be able to hear that game in full later in the week if you are interested. We are live tonight on the Commenttary Hub 2 and JB Sports for this evening's coverage as we bring you the big game in the EFL Cup tonight, Port Vale against Arsenal. We had a comment in the comment section below. Is from Luke Turton, who says, "Good luck tonight, guys." Thank you very much to you, Luke, and hopefully you're doing well this evening. Also, thank you for sharing some love with the team here this evening. Luke is part of the team behind the scenes with the production side of things. So good to be hopefully getting back involved with some of the production side of things later in the season. Moving swiftly back to this game then, and kick-off is very much fast approaching. Just before we bring Mike back in for my game that we're bringing you this evening, let's just bring in Paul again a second. Obviously, Paul, Nottingham Forest have gone with a 4-1-4-1 formation this evening. Do you think that's a bit more to get a bit more out of the players that Ange Postecoglou's got in his side and up his sleeve ready for this game this evening? Or why do you think he's changed formation from what he's normally played in the Premier League?
To be honest with you, you may be trying something new, but this is not the night to try it. This is Forest's first game back in Europe. I haven't seen Forest play a 4-1-4-1, at least not recently in the last few years before. So he's definitely trying something new. I just think the timing is wrong. This is not the time to be doing that. They've got a really good chance in this Europa League competition. Ange has won it before with Spurs. So I just don't. I'm a bit perplexed, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised when you mentioned that to me, because he's not. Ange never played that last season in the Europa League with Spurs. He always played his trusted formation with wing backs and pushed high up the field. He's never played a back four in the Europa League with Spurs. So I'm a bit surprised, like you, Paul. He has gone with that one there. Obviously, Paul, I know you are a avid Arsenal supporter, like Michael. We've gone with us this evening as well. Just a quick before I hang back. Just before we get to Michael's, the teams are in the tunnel at Vale Park here this evening. Would you like to just give us your score prediction for this game? Do you reckon Arsenal could come through after seeing and heard the lineup that's been picked by Mikel Arteta, or do you think it could be a struggle based on what Mike said with Port Vale not being a bad side this season so far?
I would hope Arsenal would go out and win it. I'm a little bit upset that Arsenal haven't played a stronger lineup, to be honest. They're not going to win the league this season, of Arsenal. That's not going to happen. They need to focus on the cup competitions and try and pick up some silverware as they continue to build a squad that is competitive at taking on Liverpool. That time is not now. So they need to take these cup games seriously.
Yes, thank you very much there, Paul. Paul will be hearing from Paul throughout the afternoon and evening, or morning, depending where you are, as he brings you updates on Nottingham Forest in Europe. This evening they're taking on Real Betis. Also in Europe, Celtic their way to Red Star Belgrade. The teams are out here, so we'll give you the team news again in just a second ahead of kickoff. Let's bring in Mike Arneman here ahead of kickoff. And Mike, just give us your score prediction for Arsenal tonight. Do you reckon Arsenal will get the job done?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident they will. If you look at the lineup, it is a strong enough lineup, and it should be a strong enough lineup to beat Port Vale as well. You know, with Saka and Eze and Martinelli, the front line. And obviously, Arteta wants to rotate a little bit with one eye on the Newcastle game at the weekend as well, which is going to be a difficult trip. So, yeah, I think Arsenal will win. I'm going to go 3-0.
Thank you very much there to Mike. We'll hear from Mike again at half time. So then let's take a look then ahead of kickoff then as we fast approach, and then let's take a look and remind you of the two teams starting with Arsenal. Not starting with Arsenal, starting with Port Vale, the home side this evening. Is Joe Gucci in goal, Connor Hall, Cameron Humphries and Jesse Deborah across the back, Johnny Gabriel, Ryan Croasdale, Reece Walters, George Hall, Jadeem Edley and Run in midfield with Ronan Curtis and with Payton up front, Morose, Clark, Hennigan, Byers, Garrity, Stockley, Ojo, Fall and Cole. As for Arsenal, then he's a Kepa in goal, Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal for the Gunners tonight. It's a back four then of White, Mosquera, Saliba and Lewis Skelly, Moreno, Norgod, Nwaneri in midfield, Saka, Martinelli and Eze in attack, Raya, Gabriel, Timber, Gyökeres, Trossard, Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice and Max Dowman in the lineup. Let's take a look then before we get to the ready for the teams. Let's take a look at the match officials for this evening's game, and the referee tonight is Andrew Kitchen, assisted by Sean Hudson and Sam Lewis. Andrew Humphries is the fourth official, and just a reminder, as you can see there on your screen, there is no VAR tonight, so what the officials decide on the pitch will go come the end of this game then tonight as we get ready for kick-off. And no the goals in the early match, in the early games in the EFL Cup action this year. We'll bring you updates, as I mentioned, on Nottingham Forest in Europe tonight against Real Betis. The updates there will come from very Paul James, who is watching that games in the EFL in this game between Arsenal and Port Vale, or Port Vale and Arsenal at the Vale Park this evening. Russ Vernon guiding you through the action as we're about to get this game underway. We're early throwing then for Port Vale over on that far side. He's headed down the line there well. Good bit of play from Port Vale. So for the English was a few moments ago as Vale look to win an early throwing near the corner flag down on this near side. And that's a good bit of play from George All there, the two of the Alls in the side, as Gabriel will come across to take this throwing in towards the penalty area. It looks like it'll be a long throw from Gabriel into the penalty area, trying to win the early header inside the box there. That was Saliba heading it away, but only for yet another long throw, but this time it's gone short. And we'll keep you bang up today with the scores in the game, as it's still 0-0 as a chance there for Port Vale just goes wide there as Arsenal gets an early goal kick, which will be taken by Kepa straight to Mosquera. And we're about to come forward now for Arsenal. This is hit forward, headed by Moreno into Saka, towards Moreno again, who can't pick up. Saka nips back in to keep the ball for the Gunners, and he's back now with Saliba. And now it's Lewis Skelly on the ball in towards Eze now, who comes short to win the ball, and is now back with Saliba. Now White again. Good bit of play here as we look to come forward. Good movement here now as Norgard drops the ball back there. Good bit of footwork from Arsenal's possession quite well. Yeah, gives the ball away though to the Gunners, and he's back with the goalkeeper Gucci, who can clear downfield, who will pick up possession. We'll Port Vale in the midfield and play towards this near side. We'll keep you updated on the Nottingham Forest game with updates throughout the afternoon and evening or morning, depending where you are in the world, listening to us from in the company of Paul James, watching that one there for us today. Mosquera with that ball out of play for a throw-in to Port Vale. Gabriel will take it again. Or should I say, Jordan Gabriel will take it again. And it'll be a long throw in towards the penalty area. And it's headed away by Mosquera, headed back in. Third and cleared this time by one area up towards Gabriel Martinelli, but there's the header from Jesse Debra in there. Cannot hold back, heading up at the back there now. Here comes the number 12 for Port Vale. Good bit of movement here as his ball played towards the far side for Edley. Edley controls and gets it down the line for Curtis. Wonderful bit of run this from Curtis. He holds up the play well, and it's gone out of play for a throw in, which Curtis will leave, and could be another long throw here for Port Vale. Or will it be a short one? It is a short one this time. It's kind of all comes forward. It gets the ball back and it gives the ball away, but Arsenal come forward with one area. How wide? It's on the inside, and White takes a touch infield to Saliba. William Saliba holding up possession as Forest have just got underway there. We'll keep you updated throughout the evening as Nottingham Forest take on Real Betis in the Europa League this evening as well. Paul James watching that game for us as he's played in there. Good bit of forward from Norgard back to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli on this near side the left. Infield he goes to Eze, back to Norgard again. Now Mosquera keeping possession well. Here's Ben White. We'll be moving to Bukayo Saka. Saka charging forward and he cuts in field. Just Bukayo Saka keeping hold of possession well. Here he is now. Arsenal keeping possession. Norgard from Moreno's pass into Eze. Good ball into Mosquera. There we are. Wide now to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly takes a touch. And pulls it back to Yes, it's Moreno trying to go on end of this ball into the penalty area. As it remains 0-0 here between Port Vale and Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Good bit of footwork from Nørgaard. Out wide, he goes to this near side, giving the ball away, and he comes forward now to Port Vale, but Moreno wins it on the edge of the penalty area. Through towards Saka. Saka inside the penalty area. Shot is blocked for Ben White to come and claim. Good footwork here from Wilders. Get to Paul in a second. Over there to over in the early exchanges there is Lewis Skelly. Out wide to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli with the cross into the penalty. Saka trying to reach to the back post. Vale defending well. And it remains 0-0 here between Port Vale and Arsenal. Here is Nørgaard. Good movement now as Arsenal just keep hold of possession. As Mosquera to the side. Good ball further out wide. It goes now to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli with the low ball into Eze. Eze controls. Gives the ball out wide to White. Now Saka. Midway inside the penalty area. Crossing towards the penalty area. There's an header away from one area as he keeps hold of the ball through Arsenal. Back into Saliba. Westfield patch to Bukayo Saka, who just keeps the ball in place. Or they'll win the ball back. But Saka's done well to keep hold of possession for Arsenal. Here's one area now. The ball out wide to this near side and Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli controls well infield. He goes flick on. Eze 1-0 Arsenal. And Eze has opened the scoring for the Gunners in opening 8 minutes. And Arsenal have the lead. And it's Eze with it. Fantastic bit of football from Arsenal. And they have opened the scoring there. Well, it is a fantastic well taken goal. You can just look at this here. Martinelli out wide. Does well in field. He goes to Lewis Skelly. Leslie run for Eze. And finishing to the bottom left-hand corner. Superbly well. And Arsenal have the lead by a goal to nil inside the opening 8 minutes here. It's Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. Eze with the finish on 8 minutes. Well taken goal. And there's already been a booking in the game between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. Let's find out which way it's gone with Paul James.
Thanks, Ross. Yes, it actually could. It's gone in favour of Morgan. It's gone against Morgan Gibbs White for pulling back Anthony. But earlier on, Alexander Zinchenko may well have gone into the referee's notebook as well for a deliberate body check on Anthony. Anthony has had it rough early on here, and the score is still 0-0 right now. But Betis were coming forward there, and there's a foul by Bakumba on the goalkeeper. But Max Sells for Nottingham Forest, and he's clutching his arm. He's down right now, Ross. It's still 0-0. We've played 9 minutes.
Thank you, Paul, as we have played 9 minutes here as well between Port Vale and Arsenal. Arsenal leading here by a goal to nil thanks to Eze's strike early on. Good bit of play from Arsenal, which led to that Eze goal, and Eze's now on the field of play. Didn't miss anything as we checked on that early play against between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. Is still 1-0 here to Port Vale. Against Port Vale. And we've just seen a goal in one of the other games tonight in the Carabao Cup. Huddersfield have taken the lead against Manchester City through Phil Foden. Well taken strike by Foden there. We can also tell you that Newcastle are 2-0 up against Bradford City, and Tottenham are 2-0 up against Doncaster Rovers as well in the EFL Cup, and 1-0 here. So we'll update the scores going across the bottom of your screen in just a with the latest scores on the doors, updated with all the other games as and when we can do so here this evening. It's Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 in the EFL Cup, or the Carabao Cup, whichever you'd like to call it. There's been another goal in one of the other games in the Europa League tonight. Ludogorets are beating Malmo by a goal to nil. We'll keep you updated on Nottingham Forest SGA from Paul James, and we'll also tell you about Celtic, their Red Star Belgrade. Still 0-0 between Red Star Belgrade and Celtic this evening. 0-0 between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest, as you've heard with Paul James a few moments ago. We'll keep you updated there as we keep you bang up to date with all the other games up and down the country tonight and across Europe as well. As here comes Bukayo Saka for Arsenal over on that far side up against Headley. Knocks the ball in field. This is a good bit of play from wide. Good ball to the penalty. Shot comes in and deflects just wide. Arsenal wanted a corner, and they do get a corner. Waneri, I think he was, with the effort. And Ethan Waneri there showing why he's been picked tonight for Arsenal into the penalty area, and a shot deflects just wide. Their brilliant ball in from Ben White to pick him out, and his effort deflects wide. And he started off well here as the Arsenal youngster, another youngster is in the side tonight, another youngster on the bench this evening in play in the name of Max Dowman, as we bring you the games up and down the country tonight from the EFL Cup as well as the European games this evening. It's Port Vale against Arsenal, our featured game tonight. He's come now to Lewis Skelly. Infield, it goes to Saka. A good bit of work on the edge of the penalty area. One area this time looks ball across, Connor All gets the ball clear. It remains 1-0 to the Gunners here. Big good early start here. There's been half a chance between for Nottingham Forest. We'll hear about that in a second, as Arsenal have the ball with William Saliba to Mosquera, and now to Norgard, back to Mosquera again, and here is Ben White as Arsenal just knocks it around at the back into midfield. Then that's a brilliant turn from Mikel Moreno. He's got Saka around wide of him and it finds Bukayo Saka down the right hand side, puts infield to one area, turns away from the number 12 there. Walters back out wide, he goes to White. Brilliant 1-2 with Moreno, and then White continues his run into the penalty. He goes down and the referee says goal kick. No penalty there. Arsenal looking towards the referee for a penalty. Ben White now gets back to his feet, looking towards the referee. No penalty incident there. Let's just look at this again. I don't think it was. We'll just look at it again. And there's no touch there on Ben White. I think if this was a Premier League game, it would have probably been booked for simulation there. Let's hear how the half a chance for Nottingham Forest in the early exchanges in Seville against Real Betis. Paul James.
Yeah, it's half a chance for Nottingham Forest. They've started very steadily at Nottingham Forest. At the moment, just defending the early storm that you kind of expect from Real Betis. Didn't really come, and Forest have started to be a bit more adventurous. The ball came to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He tried to curl the ball from dead centre, about 35 yards out, but he only scuffed it, and it went through to the goalkeeper, Pau Lopez. Aside from that, no real opportunities. It's 11 minutes gone. It's Betis 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Thank you. Thank you very much there to Paul James. It's still Arsenal leading here by a goal to 0 against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup. We could have penalties if there is a draw after 90 minutes this evening here at Vale Park. We'll be on the air for those if that does happen. But as it stands, Arsenal will be going through, as will Spurs against Doncaster, Newcastle against Bradford, and City against Huddersfield Town as well. Mosquera finds Saliba there for Arsenal here at Vale Park. With no penalties in last night's games either, as you can see the scores going across the bottom of your screens there, as well as a ball into the penalty for Saka down the right hand side. He holds up the play well into the side tonight due to the injury to Nottm Madueke. He probably still played anyway, having on his own return from injury. Madueke out for 6 knee injury. Big issue there for Arsenal. Big problem there because Madueke started to play well for the Gunners. But here is Martinelli. Good ball in field. It goes well. Good bit of movement here. He controls the ball well, does Martinelli. Into the goal scorer, Ed, twisting one way, then the other, Eze. Now into Justin Nagel. Back into Mosquera. Now Eze again. Good play from Eze. Into Nagel again. It goes well to Mosquera. Now Saliba. Good for work here now for Ben White. Well, through to Moreno around the corner. It goes to Bukayo Saka. Down the line is Ethan Wanera up against Edley, and Wanera cuts in field. Ball from Nagel out wide to Ben White. Back to Nagel again. Does really, really well. Back to Ben White once more. Ethan Wanera controlling possession well. Now Mosquera. Nagel again controlling. Turns away. Wanera this time there into Nagel. Back to Wanera, who's controlling possession well. Saliba across to Mosquera. Good bit of football here now into Luis Skelly. Eze controlling possession well here. Now he's back with Mosquera. Good control well here. Justin Nagel once more. Across there it goes to Ben White. Gets the ball forward towards the penalty area. Can't get there. And it goes behind for a corner kick to Arsenal. Put behind by Edwards. Saka goes across to take it. Coming towards 17 minutes gone here. It is still Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1, thanks to the early strike from between Red Star Belgrade. Still in the Red Star Belgrade against Celtic. Also the same between Betis and Forest. We'll hear updates on that game if the goal goes in. We'll go across to Paul James as soon as we can. There's been a goal there. We'll get to that in a second after this Arsenal corner. Saka with the short corner into Eze. Back to now to Wanera, to Luis Skelly, who can line up a striker. He goes out wide to Saka instead. Bukayo Saka looks to get the ball into the penalty area. Back to Wanera. Instead, here's Saliba. William Saliba back to Wanera. Back to Saliba again. Now Ben White is out wide there. Wide down the line for Bukayo Saka. Saka with the crossing. Header flicked on, and Edley is there at the back post to clear it away for Port Vale, will they? They played out from the back. Port Vale, and they're being caught out, but a free kick has been given out on Jordan Gabriel. Having a goal in the game between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. Let's go and find out about that goal and which way has it gone with the news of the goal. Paul James.
Well, the goal is under VAR check right now, possibly for Bakumba being offside. But I'll talk you through the goal itself. Bakumba picked up the ball. He managed to get a shot away, but it was blocked. It came back out to Anthony. Anthony played an insightful pass back to Bakumba, who smashed it past the goalkeeper in the top left corner. And the check is over, and the goal stands. So Nottingham Forest are a goal down after only 14 minutes. That's not the goal they wanted to give away early on, but it's Real Betis 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Back to you, Ross.
Thank you very much there, Paul, as Real Betis leading against Nottingham Forest by a goal to nil, as you heard there from Paul James. We'll keep you bang up today with the goals in Europe as well as in the Europa League between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. Real Betis leading there by a goal to nil. We'll keep you updated throughout the game as we have regular updates on the game. Here's Ben White into Eze. Eze controlling possession well, and he got the ball well. Nagel infield to Luis Skelly. Now is Martinelli, who's come deep from the lone striker position. Good control from Gabriel Martinelli. It remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. Now here's Saka. Good control by Saka. Around the corner he goes towards Ben White. He's cleared away. And that's a good piece of defensive play there from Port Vale to just get the ball away. Saka takes the throwing quickly and gets the ball back there from Saliba. Bukayo Saka on halfway, controlling the ball well into Lewis Skelly. Good bit of footwork here to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli controlling possession well. Back it goes now to Lewis Skelly infield. It goes there to Noggle. Back into Mosquera. Now into Saliba. White. Good bit of footwork here from Arsenal, just keeping possession. One area back to Ben White. And now good bit of movement here. Arsenal 21 so far in the opening 21 minutes here. There's been an equalising goal over in Betis. Let's hear about that that now, shall we? With Paul James.
Yes, a fantastic response from Nottingham Forest and a fantastic goal, it has to be said. The build-up play was fantastic. Callum Hudson-Odoi picked up the ball down the left-hand side. He played it forward. It was laid off to Zinchenko. Zinchenko laid it to Anderson. Anderson to Morgan Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White unselfishly squared the ball across to Igor Jesus, who just had to tap it in the empty net. It's Real Betis 1, Nottingham Forest 1, but the goal is under review from VAR. And I'm just wondering whether Igor Jesus went into an offside position. It's just being viewed now. The check is complete, the goal stands. So Igor Jesus levels the score for Nottingham Forest just 4 minutes after Betis had given the lead.
Thank you, Paul. 1-1 there is Arsenal with the crossing from Gabriel Martinelli. Trying to count Moreno too much on that ball, and it goes behind as we see the effort again from Martinelli to try to count Moreno, cut into the penalty area, chipped it towards the back post with too much on that ball into the penalty area there, and it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. It's still Huddersfield Town 0, Man City 1, Luxor 2, Bradford City 0, Tottenham 2, Doncaster Rovers 0. If you're just joining us this afternoon or this evening, depending where you are in the world tonight, we'll keep you bang up to date with all of the other games taking place this evening. Still 0-0 in the game between Red Star Belgrade and Celtic there. Dynamo Zagreb are 1-up against Fenerbahce, also in the Europa League this evening. We'll just focus on two games. The game we're bringing you updates of between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest, and also Red Star Belgrade against Celtic. But throughout the programme, we'll give you updates we'll give you latest scores as they're going in the other matches in Europe this evening. Thank you very much, Media Radio Jingles and Gaming News as well. We'll start through Arsenal so far, Vale Park, and great commentary on this game. Thank you very much for doing so there as we see some of the Port Vale players not involved this evening sat in the crowd as we watch this game unfold here this evening as we see Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1, and it's Saliba with possession from Mosquera. Mosquera takes a couple of touches and finds Saliba again. Lost to Ben White. And now here is Christian Nagel, who switches the play. Miles Lewis Skelly. Good bit of work here. Back it goes to Mosquera. Across now to Ben White on halfway. Down the line is Bukayo Saka, and he picks him out on that far side, the right. Back in now to Ben White, who looks to play the ball back into midfield. Here's Mosquera again out wide to this near side, and Martinelli towards Eze. Good control, miserable, then he's robbed of possession. As now Port Vale can come charging forward with a chance to level things potentially from this attack. But Payton just turns away from the Arsenal goal and goes backwards to make sure they maintain possession. Here is Jesse Deborah on this near side, the right. Down the line it goes well as Port Vale just keeping all of possession. It remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. 25 minutes on the clock here. We'll give you another update in a couple of minutes in the game which is taking place tonight in Sevilla between the Villa Marine Stadium between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. We'll hear about any more updates or how Forest have continued after the equalising goal. How the game's going in a couple of moments' time. as Saliba has possession for Arsenal. Back it goes now to Kepa Arrizabalaga into Mosquera. Now here's Luis Skelly. Mosquera again as he just knocks the ball across to William Saliba. With pressure from Payton as he tries to rob Saliba, and he does so, only as he finds Curtis. Now Jesse Deborah across to Cameron Humphreys, who formerly of Rotherham United, played for the Millers last season in League One and then joined fellow League One side Port Vale this summer, and has been a stalwart of the Port Vale defence of the back. He was ever present for Rotherham last season, played in midfield at times, play for a throw-in here and now as Arsenal just keeping hold of maintaining the shape to make sure Vale have to go back and try and work a different opening. We're about to go across to here. Al Foyce had responded to getting an equalising goal, and we can learn the moment as a ball over the top was just a flag offside there against Payton, who got in behind there for Port Vale. Actually, it was actually Gabriel who got in behind there, and he was just offside. He just went a fraction earlier there, did Gabriel, and he just couldn't time his run to perfection there. The full-back and Arsenal have a free kick. 27 minutes gone. Here's the ball from Kepa Arrizabalaga, goes through to Gauche in the Vale in the Vale goal. Let's hear about another goal at the stadium in Seville, where it is stadium in Seville between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. And we'll hand over to Paul James to tell us about another goal there for which side for, Paul?
Yes, it's been a fantastic response from Nottingham Forest, and specifically Igor Jesus. Forest take the 2-1 lead. The corner on the left-hand side taken by Callum Hudson-Odoi, and the smallest man on the pitch, Igor Jesus, jumps up and hits the header past the goalkeeper Lopez into the bottom left-hand corner. And we are going to see more and more of Igor Jesus as this game and as this season progresses, I'm sure. He's just picked up a yellow card there, but it's Betty 1, Nottingham Forest 2. We've played 24 minutes.
Thank you very much there, Paul, as we keep you bang up to date with Nottingham Forest. They're leading now in Sevilla against Real Betis. 2-1 is the scoreline there as well. Media Radio Jungle says he's enjoying the updates as well from Paul James, which is a pleasure to hear as well this evening. We'll keep you updated with the game out in Europe involving Nottingham Forest this evening. We were due to have split frequencies for the games tonight, but we decided to go ahead with this game and just have updates from the European match instead, as we felt more people would be interested to see how the Gunners went on in the Carabao Cup and see if they can build on the point that they got against Man City the other weekend with a positive result here, as Ronan Curtis is down in the end, as it remains 1-0 to the Gunners here. We'll keep you bang up to date. We've played 29 minutes in this match here this evening as we watch this game unfold. It's Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. If you are just joining us this evening, as we keep you bang up to date with this game here, as we see a shot there of John Rudge, who was manager back in last time Port Vale and Arsenal played back in the FA Cup back in 1998, and he inspired Port Vale to a victory to a replay, and then Arsenal lost on penalty. Won on penalties against Port Vale. We knew a good game quite a few years ago, and he gave a motivational team talk to the Port Vale players earlier this week after being invited to speak to the players by boss Darren Moore, who used to be at Crisis Club Sheffield Wednesday of the Championship before taking the reins at Vale Park. Did Darren Moore. 30 minutes gone here at Park. This Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 in the EFL Cup. Also, latest score stand going across your screen: Huddersfield 0, Man City 1, Luxor 2, Bradford 0, Tottenham 2, Doncaster Rovers 0. And also here, as you can see at the top of your screen, is Arsenal 1, Nottingham, Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 in the game there this evening, as we keep you bang up to date with that one. Will we get any goals in that game this evening, as we keep you bang up to this evening, as we will keep you updated with all the scores throughout the game this evening. We'll keep you bang up to date with that one there, as we keep you updated throughout the evening, keep you bang up to date with all the scores. In a couple of moments, we'll go and check, see if Forest have continued to play well after taking the lead for the first time this evening. And next time we have a stoppage in play, we'll go and check now with Paul James, as Kepa Arrizabalaga was putting the pressure there by Jordan Gabriel, which found Mosquera, who found Christian Nagel, who now finds William Saliba to bring the ball out for Arsenal over on that far side into Moreno, back in towards Christian Nagel, but he takes a continuously with himself, does Moreno. Now Saliba finds Mosquera. Mosquera can look forward here into Eze, midway inside the Arsenal half, coming up towards the halfway line. He's back towards the centre back in Saliba. Now Mosquera has possession. Now Eze, good control here from Eze, who can race his way forward. He's lost out there to George Hall, and now Port Vale coming forward. He's down wide to Louis Payton. Payton controls well. Here is the number 6 for Port Vale, Jordan Gabriel. Jesse Deborah into Cameron. He's just through the centre circle towards that far side. And now, wonderful bit of footwork here. He's controlling really well here at Port Vale. Good bit of tempo to this game now. Port Vale having a bit of spell of possession. Jesse Deborah wide to Jordan Gabriel. Gabriel with the cross in towards the penalty area. Away by Mosquera to Moreno. Moreno turns away from his man and finds Luis Skelly. Gets it back to Mikel Moreno. Luis Skelly again downfield. And he's picked up here by Cameron Humphries. And now Connor Hall has possession. Back he goes now to Humphries. And now to this near side. And the number 12, Walters, has possession. He takes a couple of touches and goes back to his goalkeeper there, which is Gucci, who can clear up towards number 22 there. Jesse Deborah has done well down this near side, and his ball just gone out of play for a throw-in after a good bit of play between Jordan Gabriel and Jesse Deborah down this near side of the right. Last time we was with Paul, Forest have just taken the lead in Real Betis in Seville against Real Betis. Let's see if how Real Betis have responded to that, and if Forest have continued to be on the front foot, or have Betis come back into it, Paul?
Well, Betis have tried to create chances, but they've come up against a very resolute Nottingham Forest defence. The ball has just been swung in there by Elliot Anderson. Jesus looking for a hat-trick there, as Forest now are coming forward, but they've not really created anything of Betis. Their final ball inside the penalty area has been pretty troubling. And since the Betis goal, they found it very difficult. It could be 3-1 here. They found it very difficult to break down Nottingham Forest. And at the moment, it's indeed Nottingham Forest with possession football inside the Betis half of the field, and an opportunity for Jesus right on the doorstep. It was blocked by the defender. It's all Forest right now, but it's a corner now, so I'll send it back to you. 31 minutes gone. Betis 1, Forest 2.
Thank you, Paul. It's Arsenal breaking away over that far side. Is it from an area towards the penalty from Mikel Moreno? That's the goal number 2 for Arsenal. Didn't get out from under his feet. That did Mikel Moreno. Now it's Martinelli to Luis Skelly. Christian Nagel back to Mosquera. And Mosquera is just keeping possession well here. Good ball out wide to this near side. And Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli infield to Christian Nagel. A bit of movement here to William Saliba. Now Ben White. Down the line it goes to Bukayo Saka. Good back flick from Ethan Nwaneri. As Arsenal just keeping possession for White. Now for Saka. As Arsenal in blue tonight. Against Port Vale in the white. are leading us. It's not Eze again. Shot in by Gucci. Fantastic save from the on loan Villa goalkeeper there. He plays in brilliant ball through Just Moreno into Eze, whose shot was saved well by the goalkeeper there as Arsenal come forward with. I can hear a very Forest to be the post. We'll check it out in a second. Saka towards the penalty area. A bit of play from Bukayo Saka. Holds up the play well. White sends a ball in, cleared away, only as far as Norgal this time. Saka again. Norgal keeps hold of possession for Arsenal. Back to Saka. Good ball across here. Who's giving the ball away? Luis Skelly wins it back. Out wide now to Martinelli. Martinelli towards the penalty. Crossing towards the back post. Heads up and away. Only as far as Saliba. He clears the ball out of play. And it will be a throw in to Port Vale. Is it a free kick being given for a foul on Rosedale by Mosquera here as he cleared the ball away. Let's hear about that chance for Nottingham Forest. I understand, Paul, they're in the woodwork.
Yes, and to be honest, if Betis come back into this game, they will look back on this chance because it's an incredible miss. The corner came in. Callum Hudson-Odoi was the culprit. He got on the end of the cross. He must have been all of about 4 yards out. He got the touch. It was an empty net, and he put the shot against the post with Igor Jesus standing behind him, not able to understand why he wasn't able to get his hat-trick. But it's Callum Hudson-Odoi who hits the post, but it really should be 3-1 Forest, and they are all over Betis now. As Hudson-Odoi gets into the penalty area again, and it's back to Elliot Anderson, across here to Nico Williams, and the ball's across, and it's Jesus again, but the goalkeeper Lopez gets down and makes a fine save. So 2-1 is the score at the moment, and there is about 9 minutes to go till half-time. Back to you, Ross.
Thank you very much there, Paul. It's Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 here as Port Vale have a throw-in, which will be taken by the number 22 here, Jesse Debre, and he's wiped on his shirt as he looks launchless downfield, flicked on there well by Gabriel as Arsenal have been put under pressure down this near side of the right. Gabriel in there again, battling in well against Luis Skelly, but the ball goes out of play off of Jordan Gabriel for a throw-in to the Gunners, which Luis Skelly will wipe on the ball on his shirt before taking this throw-in. We've been told he's going to move back a couple of yards as he was trying to steal a few yards there, was Miles Luis Skelly. And it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. Luis Skelly will look up here now to try and turn this throw in, and he goes to Baldet Saliba, and Deborah heads it clear. There's a looping ball up into the night sky, headed on from Martinelli, but only as far as Croasdale. But now here is George Hall for Port Vale into Croasdale. Croasdale's cross is blocked by Luis Skelly behind for a corner kick to Port Vale. Good bit of play from Vale down the right hand side. Ryan Croasdale, the central midfielder, way down that right hand side, and trying to put a cross in, blocked by Luis Skelly, and he goes behind for a corner kick, which sends the likes of Jesse Deborah, Connor Hall, and Cameron Humphreys into the penalty area from the back. Ronan Curtis will look to deliver this ball into the penalty area and look to try and level things for Port Vale. He's in towards the penalty area. Ellis goes down, he's bouncing around inside the penalty area. Shot comes in from Gabriel, is blocked, and he breaks away. Martinelli keeper for Arsenal, who kind of gets there, and he goes down on the challenge of Curtis. Referee says play on. Curtis with the cross in towards Deborah inside the penalty area. He's back in with Ben White, who comes out to Edley, who keeps the ball in place. We've gone out for Arsenal throwing over there, and that being left. It remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 here, as the ball is in towards the penalty area. And he bounces around inside the penalty area. Luis Skelly just trying to get a foot on it to clear. He goes down there, just Luis Skelly, but the referee says play on. In towards the penalty, heading away again this time. And now Port Vale starting to believe there's a chance of a goal in here for the League One side, the Valiants, as they just hammers the ball downfield to Gucci in goal there, and it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1, coming to the final 4 minutes plus stoppage time here in the game between Port Vale and Arsenal. Here's Ethan Waneri, who can control well. Back he goes now. Christian Nagel controls the ball really, really well here. Ben White with possession as he last 5 minutes, 2 shots from Vale, 1 on target, 1 for Arsenal, 1 on target. 5 touches in opposition box for Vale, 4 for Arsenal. Arsenal with 62% possession to Vale's 38%. And it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 here at Vale Park in the EFL Cup. What a game we have got this evening. As you can see the competition next to the scoreboard, and you can see the teams were started there. You can see the scores going across the bottom of the screen as we watch Martinelli race after this, but Jesse Debra comes across and makes a good challenge to halt the run of Gabriel Martinelli, but Martinelli manages to get there, dancing up against Jesse Debra, keeps the ball in play just as he was back down the line of the pitch to Lewis Skelly. Now it's with Mosquera, who goes into Sleeper inside the centre, inside the Vale half, finds Ben White this time. Down the line it goes to Bukayo Saka. Saka controls well, and Saka is controlling possession really, really well here. And they will look to come forward here now. Good ball out wide, there from White into Nagel. Christian Nagel into Eze. Eze drops the ball back here now for Saliba into Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly down this near side of the left to Gabriel Martinelli, who's turned away well. Martinelli races towards the penalty area, balling towards Moreno inside the penalty area to the box. Now Moreno, he can't pick out one area there as Arsenal concede possession as Vale clear the ball away. Goes out of play for a throw-in. There. Come towards 43 minutes play as we just see the ball into the Cameron Humphries, and he looped up into the air. Was headed away by one area, and then he come back for a shot from John and Gabriel Kepa Arrizabalaga, who finds Mosquera, who charges forward and looks infield to find Eze. The chip ball forward finds Moreno. Good control there into Ben White. Now into Bukayo Saka. And Saka is charging forward. And Arsenal have gone with a fluid from 6, if you like. As here's Ben White. I'll explain why in a moment. He's now going with the penalty area. And it will be cleared away as he wins the ball back. He's back with Ethan Waneri. So what I mean by fluid front 60, people don't know. Eze sometimes getting in the attacking role. Martinelli gets in there. Saka gets in there. So does Waneri, Nagel, and Moreno. All getting in around the striking position. And to come out right as Martinelli comes towards this left-hand side. Down the line he went. And could pick out. VAR penalty check will come to Paul in a moment after we get their no to there. So there's a stoppage in play here for a free kick to Vale into the final 30 seconds of this first half. Let's see who should have had that penalty. If the penalty should have been given in Paul's opinion, and who side would have got it if it had been given. Paul James, take it away.
Yes, well, it happened in the Forest penalty area, and Cecil Bakumba, who has been certainly Betis' most dangerous player, tried to pick up on a loose ball, and he stumbled when colliding with the goalkeeper Matt Sells. It was checked by VAR, but they quickly dismissed it, in fairness, so there was no penalty given. But at the other end, Callum Hudson-Odoi just got inside the Betty defence, but his shot was disappointing and pulled wide. Another missed chance for Forest. With 3 minutes to go till half-time, it's Betty 1, Forest 2.
Thank you very much, Paul, as you join us with a minute of stoppage time added on here at the end of this game between Port Vale and Arsenal. Arsenal are leading thanks to the goal from Eze, who scored really, really well early on inside 9 minutes. It was a fantastic, inside 8 minutes actually from Eze, well taken goal. It was too, as you've got to say that Arsenal really did deserve to be in the lead as it comes towards remain 1-0 to the Gunners. So just keep hold of possession while he's marking as the half-time. Vale and Arsenal will bring in Paul James to go through the final closing stages of the first half between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. Paul, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Ross. So you join me as it's a corner for Real Betis, taken from the right-hand side. And it's Anthony over there that's going to swing this one in. Second corner for Betis in this, first corner in this first half. It's swung in, it's headed away by Gibbs White. Bounces out to Lo Celso. Back with Anthony again. Played down this near side. And the cross comes in. Oh, it's knocked up into the air by the number 4, Morata. And it goes behind for another corner. So Betis at the end of this first half are plying on the pressure. Macumba, the goal scorer for Betis, and for Nottingham Forest, they've replied with 2 goals from the impressive Igor Jesus. And Forest so far will be looking to protect this lead, get into half-time and discuss strategy for the second half. Again, the corner is going to be taken, this time by Lo Celso. Giovanni Lo Celso. He's going to take the corner, drops it back to Anthony. It's a short one. Back to Lo Celso. Lo Celso swings that ball in, but it's right into the arms of Matt Sells, as we just going to see what stoppage time is being added at the end of the first half in this one. 2 minutes is the stoppage time. And, it's been a comfortable first half, really, for Nottingham Forest, given what they've had and had to come back from. Since then, they've definitely had the chances to increase the lead. So far, they've not been able to do it. Here's Anthony looking for Macumba again. Those two have connected up really well. Macumba has the ball, gets to the byline, he backheels it, but it is straight to Zinchenko, who clears the ball forward. And picking up the ball now is Callum Hudson-Odoi. Jesus is overlapping, but he's in an offside position. Hudson-Odoi holds up the ball. Oh, that's a fine challenge at the back there by Junior Firpo. And a clattering challenge, and a yellow card is going to be given here. Yes, it's a yellow card for Nottm, the number 4. And I don't think he can argue with this, because it was a very, very late challenge, and he was nowhere near the ball. And it was on Elliot Anderson. Just look at this. Oh, that's late. He's still arguing, but yellow card it is for Nottm. And it's a free kick for Nottingham Forest. In fact, it was actually in an offside position. They've given a free kick to Betis. I can only think that that's in an offside position. So why he's actually booked him there, I'm not so sure. That's a perplexing one. Here's Nottm again. Plays the ball forward there, looking for Lo Celso. Lo Celso goes over to the left-hand side to Ezazuli. Back there to Lo Celso, looking for Ezazuli again. That ball goes out of play, as we have reached the 2-minute mark at the end of this first half, with Forest holding on to the lead at the moment. And that's it. That is the half-time whistle. Well, the goal on 15 minutes by Macumba gave Betis the 1-goal lead. 3 minutes later, Igor Jesus responded, tapping into an empty net. And then 5 minutes later, Igor Jesus wins a header from the corner to give Forest the lead. Forest also hit the post with Callum Hudson-Odoi missing from very close range. But Forest go in at half-time here. It's Real Betis 1, Nottingham Forest 2. I'll just run you through the scores of the Europa League as well at half-time. Midtjylland 2, Sturm Graz 0. POAK 0, Maccabi Tel Aviv 0. Betis 1, Nottingham Forest 2, of course. Braga 0, Feyenoord 0. Red Star Belgrade 0, Celtic 0. They're still playing. They had a late start. Dinamo Zagreb 1, Fenerbahce 1. Freiburg 1, Basel 0. Malmo 0, Ludogorets 2. And Nice 0, AS Roma 0. Back to you, Russ.
Thank you very much there to Paul, James. Excellent bit of commentary towards then excellent updates throughout the first half as well. Before we bring in Mike Onwin for his thoughts on the first half, let's just recap the other scores from the matches in the EFL Cup and a recap of what the Nottingham Forest score is this evening as at half time, as well as the Celtic one there as well, which we'll bring you in just a second. So here we go. Then here is the half-time scores and some full-time scores from yesterday. Well, let's go to today's games first of all. In the EFL Cup, half-time scores in these matches. The club's just underway. Incidentally, it's Huddersfield Town 0, Manchester City 1, Newcastle 2, Bradford City 0, Tottenham 2, Doncaster Rovers 0, and in that featured game, it is Port Vale 1, Arsenal 0. Let's take a look at the Europa League as well. A couple of scores there for you. As you've heard throughout that first half, Real Betis 1, Nottingham Forest 2. And also it is Red Star Belgrade 0, Celtic 0. That is now at half time. Just a quick recap again of the scores from yesterday for you in the EFL Cup. Those scores are Barnsley 0, Brighton of Albion 6. It is also finished as yesterday as well. Burnley 1, Cardiff 2, Fulham 1, Cambridge 0, Lincoln 1, Chelsea 2, Wigan 0, Wickham 2, Wolves 2, Everton 0, Wrexham 2, Reading 0, and Liverpool 2, Southampton 1. Delayed coverage of the Southampton game coming up later in the week here on the Commenttary. Make sure you tune in for that as well. Just before we bring in Mike for his thoughts on this first half between Arsenal and Port Vale in just a second, the two as we bring Mike in just a second, just to tell you that our next live game after tonight comes at Villa Park on Sunday afternoon. Aston Villa against Fulham is the game there. Kick-off is at 2 p.m. at Villa Park. That commentary will be live on the Commenttary Hub and Storm FM for those who are watching tonight on Commenttary Hub 2 and JB Sports. If you want to get your Premier League fix, he's on the Commenttary Hub and Storm FM for that game there, followed by the Opus 4 game, Newcastle against Arsenal. Right, speaking of Arsenal, we've got Arsenal is with us. And Mike, what did you make to that first half performance from Arsenal, Mike? 1-0 up, thanks to Eze's goal in the match.
Yeah, so I think we started quite brightly. I think the goal was deserved at the time when Eze tucked it away. It was a beautiful finish as well. And then when you look on how the game panned out after that, I feel that Arsenal really sat back a little bit and allowed Port Vale into the game. You know, there was that chance from Eze which was saved well from the goalkeeper as well. But bar that, Arsenal haven't really been in total control. And you know, I said before the game that Port Vale are a decent side, especially at home, and you know they will be up for this. And you know, you can see that they sort of really are holding their own in this game so far. And yeah, you know, I think that when Arsenal went 1-0 up, it was just a very strange sort of game after that. You know, you would have thought Arsenal would have gone on and scored a couple more and really kicked on in that first half. But, you know, like it just seems like Arsenal were sitting back and just kind of allowing Port Vale to have the ball a little bit, and knowing that we've got a strong enough defence and team to keep them out, or should be able to keep them out anyway. And then we've got plenty of attacking options on the counter attack if we want to. But it's just a really strange way of playing when you 1-0 up, especially with the quality that we've got and the league differences between the two sides as well.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. Absolutely, you've got to say that. Then you'd have expected, like you mentioned, Mike, also to be more than 1-0 up by now with the calibre of players you've got out there. You've got likes of Saka, Martinelli, Eze, creative players. You look at Christian Nogel from midfield. He's a creative midfielder. You've got Moreno who can get forward and score. Waneri too. And then when you get corners, some corners tonight have been very, very poor, Mike, from Arsenal, which is probably for me, which is contributing to the side, so into where you're playing. So I think also to both sides to freshen things up, and you may need to fetch on someone say like a Declan Rice, a Victor Gyökeres, to make sure this game is sewn up, because more you keep playing like this and just not around, Vale can just have one chance and nip in and equalise. As you know, they're a very good side at home, and they've shown that with their performance to keep you at 1-0 at the break.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they played well, and yeah, you never know. Arsenal might have to go to the bench and bring on a Declan Rice or a Gyökeres or a Zubamendi, or there's plenty of options there if Arsenal do want to go to the bench. Even if you want to go to Leandro Trossard or Max Dalman as other attacking options too. So there are options on the bench if Arsenal want to go and really try and kick on and win this game quite comfortably. But yeah, credit to Port Vale. I think they've held their own pretty well in that first half.
They have indeed, Mike. They have indeed. And when you look at the quality of Arsenal on the bench compared to Port Vale, and no disrespect to Port Vale, Arsenal's bench is a lot stronger, you would have to say, and a lot more quality on the bench than what Port Vale have right now. You've got to say that Arsenal would be favourites to go on and progress, despite it only being 1-0 at half-time, Mike.
Yeah, you would say that, but then obviously, you go back to the last round when Grimsby shocked the world and beat Manchester United on penalties. So anything's possible. Obviously, Liverpool just about scraped through yesterday against a struggling Southampton side who are not really doing that great in the Championship. And there's teams that have fell by the wayside as well. So Arsenal just got to make sure that they're not one of those teams, because with the score only being 1-0, Port Vale will get confidence from that, and Darren Moore will say to his boys, well, you've got nothing to lose, just go all out, play your game, play with freedom, play with confidence, and you never know what might happen. Cup football is cup football.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. As you rightly mentioned about Grimsby in the last round, shocking Manchester United and getting through on penalties. I'm not saying it will happen, something similar to what Grimsby did in the
you never know really what might happen. As I say, cup football is cup football is really
capable of taking Premier League sides to the next round, to penalties, Mike.
Yeah, sorry about that. It cut out there, so I didn't know whether you'd finish what you were saying or not. But you never know, because with this cup tie, Arsenal are really not showing that they're completely at the races yet. Manchester United weren't really at the races last round either, and Grimsby surprised them and shocked the world, as I say. So yeah, anything's possible. Port Vale have got nothing to lose. This is their cup final. They're going to go all out for it in the second half, and why not?
Yes, absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. We're speaking to Mike again at full time of this game between Port Vale and Arsenal. We get ready for the second half coverage to get underway very, very shortly as well. Just before we do get back to our feature match here at Vale Park between Port Vale and Arsenal, let's bring in the man watching Nottingham Forest out in Sevilla tonight against Real Betis is Paul James. And Paul, you would probably have to say Ange Postecoglou could be, if his team continues to perform like this, could be on for the first victory in charge of Nottingham Forest this evening.
Yes, and what a game to get it in, because many have argued that in their group of fixtures that this game and the Porto game are the two most difficult games for Forest that they have. So to be on the road and to be leading 2-1 at the moment is a really good situation to be in. Igor Jesus is playing well. Forest are defending very well at the back as well, which, to be honest, they haven't done this season very well for the most part. So, so far, everything's coming together for Ange Postecoglou tonight. Let's see how it goes on. They've missed chances. Let's hope they don't get punished for missing those chances. But we'll see when the second half gets underway. There you go.
Thank you very much, Paul. We're back with Paul throughout the second half. Regular updates on Nottingham Forest against Real Betis against Nottingham Forest in the Europa League in the throughout the second half of our match here tonight. Media, radio, jingles and gaming has been on tonight as well. He says, well, let's hope another big cup upset doesn't happen for Arsenal like it did for Manchester United against Grimsby Town, but anything can happen in the League Cup, and that's what me and Mike were saying there as we're about to get this game back off and underway in the second, attacking the goal away to my left hand side in the second half as we go back on. It looks like no changes to either side. Referee just checking with both goalkeepers, and then we will get this second half back off and underway now as we're underway here. It is Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 into the second half. We just started as a ball. He's now over on that far side for Port Vale as they look just all the brighter. Here is Rosedale till the kick-off. Can't keep the ball in place. It goes out for a throw-in there on the near side as we'll just run you through the teams. And no changes by the looks of things for Port Vale. So is Gucci in goal, all Humphries, Deborah, Gabriel, Rosedale, Walters, all Edley, Curtis and Payton. All at the back. George All in midfield for Port Vale. For Arsenal is Ariza Balaga in goal, White, Mascara, Salibas, Luis Skelly, Moreno, Nagel, Nwanwe, Saka, Martinelli and Eze in attack with two subs benches or at either side of the teams at the bottom of your screens there. And it remains 1-0 to Arsenal. Here is the early pressure could tell into a goal for Port Vale as they look to launch the throwing down the line by Deborah. He can't find a teammate and he comes into play and then goes back out of play for a throw-in, and it will be a Arsenal throw-in this time down on the far side, Arsenal's left, which will be taken by Miles Lewis Skelly, who is started well down that left-hand side for Arsenal tonight. There's a ball headed on there by Port Vale through Ronan Curtis. It goes out of play for a throw, which Mascara headed out of play to give the throw in there to Port Vale. And it'll be a long throw from Jordan Gabriel, wipes the shirt on his chest, or should I say wipes the ball on his chest rather than the shirt on his chest. And with the shirt he wipes the ball with, there's Connor Hall, who's got the captain's armband tonight for Port Vale. And it'll be a long throw into the penalty area as the ball will bounce around, and then the ball will probably bounce around inside there as he normally does, as he's flicked on well. As he tries to Port Vale inside the penalty, Arsenal just managed to get it clear, and now Saka can try and break as Moreno sends Gabriel Martinelli away, and Martinelli's going around the goalkeeper, but brilliant save by Gucci there to stop Martinelli in attack. And then Port Vale thought they'd win a free kick there as Payton was brought down by William Saliba. The referee, Andrew Kitchen, says play on. Here as it remains, Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. In the frantic opening 3 minutes of the game this evening, we'll keep you bang up to date with how this game goes on tonight. Will we see a victory for the Gunners inside 90 minutes, or will we end up going to penalties? Because the way this game is going, it could go to penalties. The way Port Vale are playing at the moment, they're causing Arsenal quite a few problems. Saka's been all the way back. He's actually got all the way back to Moreno. He's actually got all the way back to Arrizabalaga inside the Arsenal goal, and he's now back there with Mosquera to Arrizabalaga to find the ball. Is played down this near side, and it goes out of play for a throw into Port Vale. It's a good bit of pressure from the Valiants to keep Arsenal pen back into the back there, as he looks to keep, or they look to keep penned in at the back. It is, as we just see the challenge again from Gucci, who just did a brilliant challenge, sliding challenge to stop Gabriel Martinelli getting away from him a few moments ago, as Ronnie Curtis wins Port Vale a free kick midway inside their own half of the field, and it will be Curtis to take it. Whereas he's midway inside the Arsenal half of the field, it looked like it was inside the Vale half for a second. But I can tell you it was inside, in fact, inside the Arsenal half of the field. It remains for Vale. Curtis sends the ball in towards the penalty. Deborah flicks on the header. He breaks inside the penalty area. George Alcon bring it under his spell and take a strike. A goal. It remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. If you're just joining us, you see the scorers are just where you can see them just below you there as we watch this game unfold this evening. We'll keep you bang up to date in this game tonight, as Saka is down on his haunches there after being fouled a few moments ago. And it doesn't look good here for Arsenal. Saka is down. Is not what the Gunners will be wanting right now, because they've already got Nottm Weke out injured, and Saka's only just coming back from an injury as well. So they won't be wanting him to go off injured again here. Bukayo Saka, you see the look of this leg. That's what I'm saying. They doesn't want him to be injured. And second half just going the way between Betis and Nottingham Forest. There's been some substitutions over there as well. We'll bring you those, try and see what he is if he's okay there. Bukayo Saka, he's got the
looks like we've just lost Russ there. So yeah, over to you, Paul. Go on, take it away, buddy.
Thanks. Yeah, so we'll just carry on until Russ returns. It's 2-1 to Forest. The second half has got underway. Triple substitution for Betty. Riquelme, Roca and Rodriguez are on for Esther Zuli, Altimira and Junior Firpo. Forest also making a change. Douglas Luiz has gone off for Dylan Bakwa. As here comes Elliot Anderson now for Nottingham Forest. The ball is out wide to Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi checks inside, gets the shot away, but that is blocked. And it's a comfortable save in the end for Lopez. Dinamo Zagreb just taking the lead there at Fenerbahce. So it's 2-1 to Dinamo right there. Lopez now has the ball for Betty. It's cleared, and now they are moving forward. Betty chasing the game, 2-1 down at the moment, made some substitutions, and the ball is played forward. It's blocked. In fact, there's a player down there. I'm just trying to see who that is. And just give me a few moments, and I am going to just try to just give you some sort of images, actually. Let's see, there we go. That should... oh, no, Russ is back, so I'll just hand you back to Russ.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thanks for stepping in. Just a few technical problems here at Vale Park this evening, as we have not missed anything here. It is still Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 in the EFL Cup. Saka is here to continue. A few technical issues there, as we will give you any updates on still in the lead there, or whether they have continued with how they are going on in the game. It remains 1-0 to Arsenal in our match here. There's been no further goals in the other matches in the EFL Cup this evening, which sees Huddersfield Town trail Man City by 1-0, Newcastle 2-0 up against Bradford City, and Tottenham 2-0 up against Doncaster Rovers. Still 0-0 between Red Star Belgrade and Celtic. Second half underway there in that game there, as we remain 1-0 to Arsenal here, with Mascara with possession to Kepa Arrizabalaga, sends it for looking for the run of Bukayo Saka. And this is headed forward there by Arsenal, looking for Martinelli. Appeals for that ball by Port Vale, only short-lived as Martinelli just pushed over a Port Vale player there, right in front of Darren Moore, and Arsenal have conceded a free kick there. It remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. As we've just seen this again here, is Moreno pushes over Ronan Curtis right in front of the referee and in front of Darren Moore, and Darren Moore wasn't happy with that there, and it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. If you just joined us here this afternoon, Russ Vernon, and we can just see that there's 16,326 here tonight, 2,970 Arsenal fans in attendance here at Vale Park this evening. And so I apologise for the few technical issues, the technical gremlins had been out for me tonight. Some of the internet connections in and rarely, but we are back on air now as Arsenal trying to come away with Gabriel Martinelli to try and extend the Gunners' lead. Well, poor pass there from Cameron Humphries gives Arsenal a corner as he tried to knock it back to Gauchi there, and it remains Port Vale 1, Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. As we just see this again, Cameron Humphries trying to knock it back to Gauchi there. He just got his angle wrong, did the former Rotherham United man, and he went behind for a corner which Bukayo Saka will take in front of those travelling Arsenal fans away to my right hand side. As we keep you bang up to date, here is Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. As we will keep you up to date, here's Lewis Skelly, good bit of work here into Saka. Eze back to Lewis Skelly again. Here's a good control with Ethan Nwaneri, who can keep hold of possession into Miles Lewis Skelly, into Eze now for Arsenal. Eze controlling possession well, and he plays into the centre circle for William Saliba. Christian Mosquera is there, now into the path there of Ethan Nwaneri. Good bit of bowling towards Saka, and the ball goes out of play for a corner to Arsenal again. Good piece of on the latest scores, then shall we keep you bang up to date this evening in the EFL Cup? Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 is the scoreline here if you're just joining us. Roma leading 1-0, 2-0 against Nice. We are just even there as well. We'll check on how Forest are doing, see if they're still 2-1 up in just a moment or two's time for you guys. We'll get the updates from Paul James in just a second or two There's still no further goals in the EFL Cup match. We'll remind you of those in just a second or two's time. As you can see them going across the bottom of your screen in any case, going across the bottom there is went behind from Mascara for a goal kick to Port Vale, following that corner from Bukayo Saka, and he couldn't keep his header down and wide, and Port Vale have a goal kick. Let's take a quick check and see if Forest are still in the lead out in Sevilla with your man Paul James.
Yes, thank you. It's still Betty 1, Nottingham Forest 2. But certainly Betty are looking more threatening in the second half. The triple substitution, bringing on Riquelme, has definitely helped Betty, and they're putting the pressure on Nottingham Forest. They're inside the penalty area now, and it has to be cleared away by Sangare and Anderson. But they've given the ball away, and at the moment they are under pressure. They're just trying to get the ball away now, but there's been no real chance created yet. The possession's been there. The build-up play has been there, but the final ball for Betty has just not been there yet. So we've played 53 minutes at the start of the second half. It is Betty 1, Forest 2.
Thank you very much there, Paul James, as we keep you bang up to date with Nottingham Forest in Sevilla tonight against Real Betis. Here's Mascara for Arsenal in our match here at Vale Park. Back to Kepa Arrizabalaga, who can find William Saliba. Saliba can look forward here as he will try and bring this game ball forward for Arsenal into Mr. Nagel, who got in between the two centre-backs just to make sure also an extra man at the back there and stayed back when Arsenal pushed them forward for the corner a few moments ago. Here is Saliba. Across now to Mascara, who's doing well this evening. And now here comes Moreno for Arsenal, twisting and turning away, keeping all of possession as we come forward here now. Here's Ben White in field. Good bit of movement here from Arsenal. Nagel across to Mascara. Mascara back to Christian Nagel once more, and remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1 in the EFL Cup as we watch this game unfold this evening. And now here comes Martinelli for Arsenal into Eze. Arsenal may not go to the bench to use the likes of Yokerez, or they may do if he stays on this, but if Arsenal get a second, I can't see them doing so. As here's Moreno to come forward to Nagel into Saka now. Saka, good piece of football there into Mascara, who can find Lewis Skelly. Good ball out wide to Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli can control possession. Infield to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly back to William Saliba. Saliba across to this near side and Bukayo Saka. Saka does well. Infield it goes there to number 22, Wanere. Now Christian Nagel, a bit of movement here. Is Ben White, low ball in, cleared away to the edge of the penalty area. And Wanere's shot is blocked on the inside of the penalty area from Port Vale. Scramble the ball clear through Cameron Humphreys. Celtic are 1 up against Red Star Belgrade. There's Arsenal make a substitution in the game here now, and they're taking off the captain for the evening in Bukayo Saka, and coming on in his place is number 56, the young man Max Dowman comes on for Bukayo Saka. And the other thing I can think of with that substitution is that Saka is on his way back from an injury, as we will get you the confirmation on the screen in just a second here as we bring you there now, as there's the confirmation of the change. Down on for Bukayo Saka there for Arsenal on 62 minutes is the change there. And Max Dowman on for Bukayo Saka there for Arsenal. There's been a huge chance in Sevilla, where Real Betis are taking on Nottingham Forest. But for who, Paul James?
Yes, a massive chance for Nottingham Forest to extend their lead. The crossing over on the far side from Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left side to Dylan Bakwa on the back post. He hit it on the volley, but he got his foot underneath it and put it over the crossbar. It was a golden opportunity, and Forest have missed two really good chances in this game, and they need to start taking the chances that are available to them. We've played 59 minutes gone, Betis 1, Forest 2.
Thank you very much. There, Paul James. Arsenal 8 minutes if you're just on your screens right now. As you can see, with all the scores going across the bottom of your screen as well, as we keep you bang up today. We've played 63 minutes gone here, and it is still 1-0 to Arsenal. We could be heading for a penalty shootout if Port Vale were to grab an equaliser, and they will be making a double substitution in a moment here for Port Vale. Will they get any chances to bring on anybody here for? I wonder who they'll be fetching on in just a second. No, for is Port Vale look to make a double change in a second or two's time here as we watch this throw from the left hand side, and there's a long throw down the line. Well, it was thrown by Egley brilliantly down the line as Port Vale just on the play, but the flag is up for offside there as we see the flag go up there for offside. No chance for this double substitution against Port Vale already. Well, the referee has said the subs were ready, in fact, so we'll just get confirmation of these subs here for Port Vale, and coming, and it looks like it's going to be number 8, Garrity, who is coming on. And coming off is George Hall, it looks like, in the first of the two changes for Port Vale. And also coming off is Jordan Gabriel. And coming on in Gabriel's place is Clark, who comes back after an injury for Port Vale. Those two have just come on now for Port Vale against Arsenal in the game here tonight, as you can see there on your screens in front of you there for Port Vale. The double change there is what you have seen tonight, is Arsenal still lead here by a goal to nil, thanks to that Eze strike on 8 minutes. If you're just joining us for the very first time today, thank you very much for doing so. Russ Vernon will keep you bang up, is keeping you bang up today with this game. We'll get a check on the game between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest again in a couple of moments time there, as we keep you bang up today with the scores in that game as well here tonight. We'll keep you bang up today with the scores in the EFL Cup as well tonight. It is now 2-0 to Manchester City, and it is 3-1 to Newcastle United in their games this evening, as we keep you bang up to date with those this evening as well. And it's still 2-0 to Tottenham in the Carabao Cup this evening as well, as we keep you bang up to date with all the scores as they happen here this evening in the EFL Cup. We can keep you bang up to date and let you know how the scores are doing. Also with a throwing down this near side, which Christian Nagel will take. It will look like it will launch this one into the penalty area and try and find somebody in a blue shirt inside the penalty area. It comes out for Ben White, who hits it outside, and not so handsome for Ben White there, and it remains 1-0 to Arsenal in this game this evening, as we keep you bang up today with all the scores in the games this evening. As we just see Bradford score against Newcastle there. Well taken goal it was to get Bradford back into the game. Then Man City 2-0 up, as I mentioned, in that game there, as they take on Huddersfield Town away from home in that game this evening. And Tottenham are still 2-0 up against Doncaster Rovers in the EFL Cup. This evening we'll keep you bang up to date with all of the other games as and when we can. We'll keep you up to date there. We'll keep you bang up to date. It'll be a long throw into the penalty area. It will be headed clear here, and we'll be trying to put the ball back in towards the penalty area. Can the ball get in towards the penalty area? The referee says there's no ball in towards the box this time. Too much on that one, and he goes out of play for a goal kick here to Arsenal, and it remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. If you're just joining us here this evening, as we keep you bang up to date with the scores on the doors this evening in the games tonight. As I mentioned, Celtic are still 1-up again in Belgrade. As we mentioned earlier on, Nottingham Forest, there's a change of a double substitution. There's a double substitution here for Port Vale, which sees Payton go off for Jayden Stockley. So Stockley comes on for Payton. And there's another change as well. I was trying to get information there, and it's Cole for Curtis. So the two front men comes off, and the two front men come on for Port Vale this evening in the latest changes there. Well, we confirmation of those changes, and a change for Arsenal as well, which sees Gabriel come on here for Arsenal, and coming off is number 4, Ben White for Arsenal. We'll give you the confirmation of the Port Vale subs first. While we're doing that, and then give you the confirmation of the Arsenal change in just a second or two as well. Well, let's find out about the double change for Nottingham Forest, shall we, with Paul James.
Yes, the two substitutes coming on. Danen Doy has come on for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Arnaud Calamuendo has come on for, surprisingly, Igor Jesus. But Calamuendo has already had a chance. He got himself into the penalty area, but a wonderful sliding challenge across there by Mark Rocker, stopping that from going into the net. But it's still 2-1 to Nottingham Forest with 66 minutes gone.
Thank you very much there to Paul James as we get the confirmation on the screen right now of the Arsenal change for you in just a second. The two time as we bring you the confirmation of the Arsenal change there now, as there is on the screen. That was the Arsenal change a few moments ago. So it looks as though Gabriel is a centre back now with Saliba, and Mosquera has come across this right hand side after the substitution there, as we keep you bang up to date here. Red Star Belgrade have equalised against Celtic this evening in the Europa League. In the games this evening, it's 1-1 there now. Nottingham Forest still lead by 2-1. If you're just tuning into us this evening, thank you very much for doing so. We really do appreciate you with your time and effort there to keep us up to date with all of the scores as we go up and down the country tonight for the matches, as we keep you bang up to date with the scores from all around the world. We'll be keeping you updated with the scores here tonight in the game between in the Carabao Cup from our match tonight, where Arsenal still lead by a goal to nil, and also keeping you up to date with the scores from the other matches in the Europa League, as well as we keep you bang up to date. It also came on as well as we went across the Paul for Mikel Moreno as well. So Mikel Moreno is now off for Victor Gyökeres. I knew I would miss one when there was so many subs at a time, Mike. So thank you very much for filling me in on that one as well. I thought we only had one change there for Arsenal, but he was actually a couple of changes there. So we'll just get the confirmation on us there of the one for the Victor Gyökeres substitution, as we keep you bang up to date with all the changes there. Big thank you to Mike for that. I knew if there was quite a few changes, there was, I would miss one eventually. Walter's now on the edge of the penalty area. Can he line up a strike here, a goal for Port Vale? The referee, he says no at this moment in time, as we watch this game unfold, as Arsenal have had to be stopped in their tracks, as Clark is down here, and he's just come back from an injury for Port Vale. He's holding his groin area as well, as we keep you bang up today this evening in the matches taking place this evening, as we watch this chance again for Port Vale, which is a well taken ball into the penalty area, and we see Mosquera there watching on as Clark is now back to his and looks to be okay. Looks like there's no issues there, as here is a turn away with possession, and now he's back in now with the ball for Arsenal, with Saliba across there to Mosquera, who's come across to right back. He's played centre back and right back tonight, as we watch this game unfold this evening. Just a quick brief check on all the other scores for you this evening. It is in the now 4-1 to Newcastle United. Joel Linton with a brace and Will Sula with a brace. Andy Cook game one back for Bradford City. 2-0 to Man City against Huddersfield Town. 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur against Doncaster Rovers as well in the EFL Cup this evening. As a shot just goes over the top of the crossbar there for Port Vale, with a decent opportunity there in the end there, as we keep you bang up to date with all the scores on the doors as they go in this evening, as we keep you bang up to date, as we always like to do here on the Commentary Hub, keep you across everything that is happening as and when we can do so. So Newcastle now 4-1 up against Bradford City, and Man City 2-0 up away at Huddersfield Town as well. Those results will be filtering through to us in a few moments. Real Betis have just made a substitution, so we'll hear about that in just a second, as Arsenal with Mosquera being forced backwards to Saliba, who plays across his own goal line, across his own penalty area to Gabriel, to find Lewis Skelly, and back to Gabriel again, and the ball is downfield. There's Victor Gyökeres, who came off from Mikel Moreno. The sub happened very, very quickly for Gyökeres from Moreno, as well as when the other Arsenal changes a few moments ago. Here is Norgal into Eze, and now Eze again does well to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly back. It goes this time to Eze. Eze will now pick out Christian Norgal, who goes across to this near side, and Mosquera. Mosquera infield It goes well in good control with possession as he looks to come forward for Arsenal, but they've got dominant possession this time inside the Port Vale half. Here's Miles Lewis-Skelly charging forward. While also just knocking the ball around well here, let's go and hear about the substitution for Real Betis, Paul James.
Yes, just leading up to that substitution, there was also what appeared to be a VAR check for a red card. Now, Elliot Anderson did raise his arm to Riquelme, but there was hardly any connection, and I couldn't see a connection at all, really.
We'll break off a minute from Paulus. Lopez is in, and he deflects over the top for a corner kick to Arsenal. Big chance there for Arsenal. Victor Yopres was in, but Cameron Humphries with a massive block tonight. Swedish international. Paul, back over to you, my friend.
Thank you. Riquelme was rolling around on the floor like he'd been hit by a bus, but the contact was minimal if there was any, and play was allowed to continue. But the substitution is Cecil Bakumbu, who has come off for the other attacking player, Cucho Hernandez. So 75 minutes gone. Betty 1, Nottingham Forest 2.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much there, Paul, as we see Port Vale making a substitution here in a moment. There's a Port Vale man down on the floor. Gabriel now with the captain's armband after coming onto the field of play. Being passed over from the Kaya Saka. And there's a substitution. So there might be a substitution here for Port Vale. And is he the substitute Clark who is going off here? He looks like it could be. The man who came on as a substitute looks like he may be going off here, Clark. And if that's the case, he won't be happy with that short stint here. As Port Vale look to make a change here with number 14 Ojo coming on. Let's get confirmation of who he's replacing in just a second, but Ojo will be coming on here, and it is Clark, the substitute. So Port Vale have substituted the substitute here due to an injury. So Clark replaced him due to an injury there, as we can see on your screens there, as Leandro Trossard is coming on for Arsenal to be and he is replacing Gabriel Martinelli, who has played well tonight. Martinelli there, and Declan Rice is also coming on as well. So Trossard and Rice on, and coming off is Martinelli and Eze, or the two Arsenal change there as well for the Gunners.
Well, we just lost Russ for a moment. I will continue for the time being. So it is still 2-1 to Nottingham Forest. A substitution for Real Betis. Patrick Fornals is on for Giovanni Lo Celso. Just before you arrived, Rodriguez picked up a yellow card for clattering into the side of Bakwa. And we're still now at 2-1. It's the ball is in the centre of the park and hooked forward there, picked up. Russ is back now here, so I'll just hand you back to Russ.
But we'll not miss much here. Arsenal still leading by a goal to nil as Jokeres just holds up the play well into Mosquera. And now is Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly with possession. And he does well here now. Lewis Skelly, good ball into Christian Nagel. Nagel does well to find Mosquera. Down the line he goes to Max Dowman. Dowman turns away and is out of play for a throw in here to Arsenal. Good bit of play that from Max Dowman on this near side. And remains Port Vale 0, Arsenal 1. If you're just joining into us here on the commentary, Russ Vernon getting you through the action for this game this evening as we keep you bang up to date with everything that we have given you tonight in the matches throughout the games this evening, in the games which have taken place in the EFL Cup this evening, and we'll can tell you there is some full-time scores into us now, and I can tell you that Huddersfield Town lost 2-0 to Manchester City. Newcastle won their game by 4-1 in their match this evening against Bradford City, and Tottenham Hotspur got a late goal in that game to win by 3-0 in the game there as well. So Tottenham Hotspur through. So far, all the Premier League sides are through in the EFL Cup against League One opposition this evening in the matches tonight, as we have gotten just come. And later on tonight, unfortunately, due to technical issues that we've been having through our programme this evening, we will not be bringing you the results. We'll be bringing you the results from the games tonight, but we were going to stay on to bring you the draw for the Carabao Cup next round draw and let you know who teams have got in the next round. But due to the technical issues we have been having this evening, we'll not bring you we'll be unable to bring you the draw. Arsenal have just made it game, set and match through Leandro Trossard into the back of the net, and Arsenal have doubled their advantage, and it's Trossard with the goal off of the bench to make it 2-0 to the Gunners on 86 minutes, and Arsenal are safely thrown to the next round. Ball over the top. He's just onside as well, is Leandro Trossard, and Arsenal have made it 2-0. Brilliant ball over the top. He cut infield and drilled a shot into the bottom left-hand corner of the goal. The goalkeeper's right, the Arsenal's left, and Arsenal safely through into round 4 of the EFL Cup. It's Port Vale 0, Arsenal 2, with Leandro Trossard getting Arsenal's second goal on 86 minutes down at Vale Park this evening in the EFL Cup tonight as well. And what a good goal to get to there for Leandro Trossard, who, in my opinion, since he has come on to the field tonight, he has put in a decent shift, and I think his performance since he's come on has deserved a goal for me anyway. Some people may disagree, and that is fine. Football is all about opinions, but for me, Leandro Trossard deserved his goal this evening, as Port Vale have a free kick now with a chance to get back into this game, as we see it. As we heard of a substitution for Forest, which will get in a moment, as we watch Port Vale trying to pull the goal back to make it a nervy end to this game, and it's just cleared away by Arsenal to Victor Jokeres, who has led the line well since he's come on, as Lewis Skelly skips away from one, finds Leandro Trossard, who finds Ethan Nwaneri, and Arsenal now charging up towards and over halfway. He's out wide to this near side of Max Dowman. Dowman charging forward. Infield, he goes well here to Christian Nagel. Nagel with possession, and he's controlling possession well here, Christian Nagel. Good control from the man here as we watch this game unfold. It's Arsenal 2-0 up here against Port Vale in the EFL Cup, as we keep you bang up to date with the matches here on the channel tonight. As Arsenal just knocking the ball around well, keeping possession well, and making sure that they will be into the next round. As here comes Mr. Noggle again, over halfway, ball out wide to Miles Lewis Skelly. Down the line it goes to Victor Yockeret. A bit of movement here from Arsenal. Declan Rice now has possession. Rice is forced back to William Saliba. So I'll have it on halfway. Let's break off and hear about the Nottingham Forest substitution as Saliba just keeps the ball to Ethan Wanere and finds Gabriel. Paul James keeps up. There's not my friend.
Yes, Ibrahim Sangare has gone off and Ryan Yates has come on for the last few minutes of this game. It's still 2-1 to Nottingham Forest, and I have to say Betty is struggling to break the Reds down. 2-1.
Thank you very much there, Paul. We're back with Paul in plenty of time for the end of the game before we finish tonight to hear how Nottingham Forest have got on in the EFL Cup this evening as we watch this game unfold to its conclusion here, and then we'll head over to Paul for closing stages of commentary over there as Rice with the corner in towards the penalty area. Gabriel in the back post, breaks for Lewis Skelly. Here's Max Downman. We'll give you the play of the match in just a second or two as we bring you the closing stages of this game tonight. Who will be our player of the match in this game here? There's been a goal in the game between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest. We'll hear about that in a moment. It's Max Downman charges forward through us on this near side, the right. Or they'll win the ball back. Lewis Skelly in there to win a free kick for Arsenal. And just before the free kick is taken, as we enter 4 minutes of stoppage time, to our player of the match this evening, which has been chosen already by myself, Russ Vernon, and he's gone to Arsenal's number 16. This evening, if we Christian Norgard, who's put in Seville with Paul James.
Yes, and it's a disaster for Nottingham Forest. The substitutes to combine Pablo and Mark Roca. Pablo Farnell's played the ball to Roca inside the penalty area. Roca pulled the ball across the 6-yard box, and there was Anthony to tack the ball in and secure at least perhaps a point for Real Betis. It's disappointing for Nottingham Forest. They may have taken a draw at the beginning of this game, but they may see this as 2 points dropped. There's still 4 minutes left to play plus injury time. It's Betty 2, Forest 2.
Thank you very much, Paul. As Christian Noggle, our player of the match, finds Christian Mosquera. Good ball down the line to Max Downman. Downman cuts in field and he finds the ball there to Gabriel, into Downman again. Good bit of play this here now for Arsenal, who can keep hold of possession. Rice is there. Good piece of footwork here for Arsenal, keeping hold of the ball well as they look to keep progressing into the next round, and it looks like they are going to be doing so thanks to 2 goals in this game tonight, as Arsenal look to have progressed into the game this evening, into the next round, thanks to goals from Edwin and Trossard, with the 2 goal scorers this evening for Arsenal. We've got 90 seconds left to play here, and Arsenal are just knocking the ball around well. Getting the feel for the ball is Kepa again now. He's not had much to do tonight as Kepa and he's just keeping the ball come forward out of the back there. As here they come again, Arsenal. It's Mosquera coming up towards an other halfway, feeds infield to Max Dowman. Dowman drops the ball back here to Saliba. Saliba back into Kepa Arrizabalaga. Back to Saliba once more, who can charge forward into Max Dowman, who's looked impressive since he's come on. And he's charging forward here now, Max Dowman. He'd love to get a goal tonight. His shot is blocked to Trossard. Leandro Trossard, who looks to askew Arsenal's passage into round number 4. Ethan Waneri inside the penalty area. Shot is saved from the edge of the box, just inside the penalty, from the edge. It just went to the box and then found left on goal. Was saved well by Gucci there, as Cole can't keep the ball in and gives away a throw-in. We look like he'd come off Christian Mosquera. Declan Rice takes a throw-in quickly for Arsenal into our player of the match, Christian Nagel, who now finds Gabriel there into Saliba. Nagel again as the full-time whistle sounds here, and Arsenal have progressed into round number 4. That's 2 goals from Erebici Eze and Leandro Trossard, the 2 goal scorers for Arsenal, who have progressed into the next round with a comfortable win. And no League One sides are through on tonight against after defeating Premier League opposition following the win for Arsenal tonight. And none of tonight's games have gone to penalties either. Full time here in my match is finished Port Vale 0, Arsenal 2. Arsenal were the winners in the end. Well, to guide you through the closing stages of the game in between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest, to guide you through the remaining stages of that match to its conclusion, is Paul James. Paul, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Russ. Long throw-in taken by Nico Williams there, but that's going to be cleared away by Real Betis. And we're inside 3 minutes of stoppage time in this game. So we'll see now whether whether this game is going to end up in a tie. The long crossing is picked up there by the goalkeeper Lopez, and Nottingham Forest, well, they are looking to perhaps hold on now, as Anthony has picked up the ball on the right-hand side. He's the scorer of the equalising goal. Dinamo Zagreb are now 3-1 up in their game, so it looks like they are home and hosed. The scorer there is Bakra in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Our player of the match this afternoon, I've decided to give it to Igor Jesus of Nottingham Forest. 2 goals, an outstanding performance by Igor Jesus this afternoon. And Forest now currently tied 2-2, as Betty, I think, are settling for a point as well. At the back here is Rodriguez, plays the ball through to the number 14 for Nottingham Forest. For Real Betis. And the ball is played forward there to Fornals. Fornals plays the ball out wide there, and picked up there by Anthony again. Over on the far side, he's going to try and get the cross in now. Is Anthony? It's deep into the back post, headed up into the air for Nico Williams, and picked up by Elliot Anderson as we are inside the last minute of stoppage time. And here is the number 14 for Nottingham Forest, and picked up at the back here by Morata. Ball is played forward and it goes out of play. It's going to be a throw-in for Real Betis. And the referee is pointing at his clock. He hasn't blown full time yet. We haven't even played the full 3 minutes yet. Looks like it's a substitution for Nottingham Forest. It's Willy Bolly who is coming on. Just trying to see who is coming off for Forest. We're still waiting. There's been, oh yes, it's Milenkovic. Nikola Milenkovic, who is coming off for Willy Bolly. Time ticking down for the Reds. For them to get a winner. It looks like this game is teetering out to a 2-2 draw at the moment. Picked up by the number 16, Sergi Almitira. Over on the far side to Nottm to Anthony. Anthony now charging down that right-hand side. He goes down under the challenge, does Anthony. Play goes on, says the official. No free kick, and that's it. That is full time. A late equaliser by Anthony is the difference, and a yellow card has been issued at the end of the game to Hernandez. I'm not sure exactly what for, but it's full time. Anthony is complaining. Real Betis are complaining, but in the end, they're fortunate to get a point out of this game. The equaliser came on the 85th minute when the ball was crossed in on the near side by Hernandez to Anthony on the back post to make it 2-2. It's full time here in Sevilla. It's Betis 2, Nottingham Forest 2.
Thank you very much there, Paul, James. Excellent roundup of the coverage, which involved Nottingham Forest, their Arsenal, through to round 4 of the EFL Cup. They're into stoppage time itself, and they've played coming up to 4 of the 5 minutes that are done there. They're still 1-1 with Red Star Belgrade. We'll keep you up to date. We'll stay on there till the end of that game this evening. Before we finish this evening, we'll get the thoughts of Mike Conlon from the Arsenal game in just a moment, and another recap just before we finish Forest's game with Paul James this evening. But before we do anything else now, let's just take a look at some of the scores in the EFL Cup this evening and some games that were played yesterday. And I'll just remind you of some of the results that were played just a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago, on the 16th of the month as well, where there was a few other games taking place round about then for the EFL Cup as well, as we give you that down. Just want to let people know that tonight's goal for Eze, for those wondering, that was his first goal for the Gunners tonight after a good piece of play early on in the game this evening. Fantastic, well taken goal there, as you can see the scores going across the bottom of your screen for tonight's EFL Cup matches, and we'll give you the full-time scores from the third round in just a second, so you know who's in the draw for the fourth round. So the third round results: Sheffield Wednesday 0, Grimsby Town 1, Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1, Brentford win 4-2 on penalties. Celtic game has just finished their now 1-1 draw for Celtic tonight. Crystal Palace 1, Millwall 1 is a result as well in the EFL Cup. On the 17th of September, Swansea City 2, Nottingham Forest 3. Now on to the results in the EFL Cup from last night. Barnsley 0, Brighton of Albion 6. It is finished Burnley 1, Cardiff 2. Fulham 1, Cambridge 0. Lincoln 1, Chelsea 2. Wigan 0, Wickham 2. Wolves 2, Everton 0. Wrexham 2, Reading 0. Liverpool 2, Southampton 1. If we move across to more action from the EFL Cup from tonight's matches: Huddersfield Town 0, Man City 2. Newcastle 4, Bradford City 1. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Doncaster Rovers 0. Port Vale 0, Arsenal 2 is a result there. Full-time scores in the Europa League as well in just a second. 2 select results for us in that competition this evening, and we'll bring you those in just a second. One of them you'll have heard updates of tonight. It finished Real Betis 2, Nottingham Forest 2. We'll get the thoughts of Paul James in just a moment on how that game panned out this evening in full, with a full-time report in just a moment. Red Star Belgrade 1, Celtic 1 as well this evening tonight. So there is your results from the other competitions taking place this evening as we bring you the game, as we brought you this game tonight. Port Vale against Arsenal, which was a good game in the end. As you can see, all the scores from the EFL Cup this week going across the bottom of your screen on the ticker just down below us there, as we keep you bang up to date there in that match, those matches this evening. Right, so we've been following Nottingham Forest in Europe against Real Betis this evening. And Paul, what did you make to the game, and do you think it was overall a fair result on reflection after seeing that game for 90 minutes now between Real Betis and Nottingham Forest?
No, not really. I think Forest deserved the victory. I think they were unlucky, but I also think they have to take the responsibility for this too, because chances for Callum Hudson-Odoi from 4 yards out, he hits the post. Bakwa, a volley, lifts it over the crossbar. They can take a massive amount of positives from the game, though. A huge amount of positives. They were better defensively tonight for the most part. Igor Jesus, you're going to see more of him this season. He was fantastic. I think there's a lot of positives to be taken from the game, and I think at the beginning of the game, Forest probably would have taken a point from the game if it was offered to them.
Yes, absolutely, Paul, absolutely. And Paul, obviously you gave Igor Jesus your player of the match tonight. If you just want to expand on that and the reason behind Igor Jesus picking up your player of the match for Nottingham Forest this evening, and why did you choose for him over the others involved in the game this evening, my friend?
Well, he's so dangerous. And the funny thing is, he must be about 5'6", 5'7". Yeah, he can beat almost anybody in the air. His second goal, he's surrounded by defenders who are maybe 6'1", and he's 5'7", and he's winning these headers in the air. He's so quick, he's such a threat, and he is very intelligent. His positional play, he gets himself into positions where he may potentially score goals. And one thing I like about this striker in Igor Jesus is he goes to the net. He goes to the net. He might not pick anything up 9.5 times out of 10, but there's going to be that time when that ball is coming across and he gambles and goes to the net, and he's going to be there. And he's a very smart player. I think we're going to see a lot more of him.
Yes, I think you're probably right there, Paul. I think we could see a lot more from games I've seen of Nottingham Forest this season, which has not been that many matches, but what I've seen on the highlights, he's looked a real goal threat. And do you think that could be the sort of help with him in the side what Chris Wood made look to have? Because last few seasons have relied on Chris Wood's shoulders to get them goals and from midfield, but now they've got another striker there as well as Chris Wood, as well as a place from midfield to get them goals. You think he could help Forest and maybe move him up a little bit more?
Based on that performance tonight, he's certainly going to be keeping Chris Wood on his toes. That much is for sure. I think Igor Jesus is. I remember watching him for Botafogo in the Club World Cup, and I was impressed with him then. And he's going to be a star, I think, in this league. And personally, I think Chris Wood needs to stay on the top of his game, otherwise he's going to find himself being replaced.
Yes, absolutely, Paul. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you very much for your contribution to the programme this evening. Let's bring in the man who's watched the game I've been covering tonight from Port Vale against Arsenal. That man is Mike Ornament. And Mike, to go for Eze, first goal for the club, and a goal for Leandro Trossard, who for me, based on when he came off of the bench, Mike, I felt he deserved his goal for his performance when he came on, Trossard, tonight. What did you make to Trossard's performance and his goal, which booked Arsenal's place into the fourth round of the EFL Cup?
Yeah, I think it was a good goal from Trossard. It was, if you look at if you're looking at that with VAR potentially, then it might have been a tight offside. I'm not quite sure your take on that one. Whether you think he would have been offside in a Premier League game or a Champions League game, etc. Because it was very, very tight actually when you look at the stills of it. But I think he deserved his goal. But yeah, you have to give credit to Port Vale, and I think they put in a real good shift this evening. Played really well. When if you look at the lineup that Arteta went with, and some of the players that played, with Saliba, with Saka, with the likes of Declan Rice, Gabriel coming on. He showed them respect as well, which is good to see. And Port Vale held their own in that game. And I was having a chat with one of my mates who's a big Port Vale fan, who was at the game with her kids and her family and that this evening. And then I even said that was harsh that the second goal went in on Port Vale because there wasn't really loads between the two sides. Yes, Arsenal's quality shone through in the end, but Port Vale held their own and did well as well.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. And Arsenal's quality, as you said, Premier League quality shone through in the end. I'm now going to make you and Paul both feel even older than what you are now in some cases, but I'm not going to reveal your ages on air. But you both probably remember and maybe some of the listeners a little bit older as well, because former England striker MLS, who played for Liverpool and also the Three Lions, his two sons tonight, Jaden and Regan F.K., both came on tonight and made their debuts for Manchester City against Huddersfield Town. So MLS's sons are now playing football and made their debuts for Man City against Huddersfield Town tonight. I think they're both around about 16, 17, maybe even one man be 18, if I remember correctly. But his two sons now, Mike, playing football. How does that make you feel when you remember watching Eski growing up as a youngster through the early 2000s?
Yeah, I knew about Regan, and I knew he had obviously the other son as well. And it's good to see him coming through and breaking through from the academy. It's good that the clubs are using their academies in these kind of competitions as well. Yes, it's good to show respect and to show, and to field a strong team, but to give some players, like Arsenal did with Max Damon, bringing Max Damon on in the second half, the 15-year-old as well. It's good to see more of them, in these kind of games as well.
Yes, and Paul, trying to fit you back in on this as well. But how does that make you feel, Paul? Obviously, you've seen Eski play young growing up, and now his sons are playing football for Man City. Do you echo the thoughts of what Mike said there as well, Paul?
Yeah, circle of life, Ross, circle of life. But yes, I do entirely echo what Mike has said. I think it's great to see youngsters getting an opportunity in competitions like this. It gives them the ability to get some game time in, and it gives them the chance to impress the manager as well. Ross, you're on mute.
Yes, absolutely there, Paul. Absolutely, my friend. I echo both your sentiments there. I just want to go back to the Arsenal game now and just bring Mike back in for a second before we do wrap up in a minute or two's time here. And Mike, I just want to get your thoughts on Eze's performance tonight. His first goal for the club, well taken goal as well. What do you make to Eze's performance tonight? And he finished that goal off brilliantly after brilliant leave by Lewis Skelly to lay one to him and finished off nicely.
Yeah, it was a good goal from Eze. I think he played well today. Obviously, he's still finding his feet at the club after signing from Crystal Palace. So, yeah, that would do him the world of confidence, getting himself on the score sheet, and hopefully then he can kick on now after scoring that goal today.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. Absolutely, my friend. A big shout out to Media Radio Jingles and Games. There's a lot of young footballers getting their debuts tonight in the EFL Cup. which is great to see. And it is great to see, as I mentioned there, two of Emilescu's sons, Regan and Jaden, making their debuts in Man City's win over Huddersfield Town this evening. Rather, that's all we have got time for this evening. Big thank you to Paul for excellent updates throughout the game on Nottingham Forest return to European action. So, Forest fans, we're going to bring you a win. Also put their place into round 4 of the EFL Cup with goals from Eze and Trossard this evening. Big thanks to Media Radio Jingles and Gaming for getting in touch this evening. Big thank you to everybody else who has just listened and not got involved tonight. We really do appreciate your thoughts and your feedback this evening. From all of us here at the Commenttary Hub, we'll see you again soon. Hopefully, technology permitting, we will be back on with the next game of the weekend between Aston Villa and Fulham on Sunday afternoon. If not, we'll be back with the Newcastle against Arsenal game. So make sure you stay tuned to our social media pages and we'll let you know what the next game is there. But technology, fingers crossed, it'll be Aston Villa versus Fulham on Sunday, kick-off at 2 p.m. at Villa Park on the Commenttary Hub and Storm FM. But for myself, Russ Vernon, Paul James and Mike Orr this evening, thank you very much for listening to our coverage this evening of Port Vale against Arsenal and updates of Nottingham Forest against Real Betis. Full time in our game this evening as we leave you tonight is finished Port Vale 0, Arsenal 2, and in the Real Betis game, Real Betis 2, Nottingham Forest 2. So from all of the team here, good night.